Heather Sides. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Spokane, Washington. If you were with me just a few minutes ago, you know I was having problems getting all my stuff to connect, so I had to go back out and come back in. So while everybody's trying to find their way back to me, I'm going to see if I can get this back up on my monitor. Okay, oh good, it's showing right up this time, so we are good. Okay, and it looks like we've got somebody with us. I can't see who it is yet, but welcome, whoever you are. Let's see, so how was your Christmas? How was your New Year's? Did anybody do anything kind of fun, different, exciting? Did you get any good presents? You know, all the questions. So I hope that whatever holiday you celebrated, it was wonderful. It was pretty quiet around here. We didn't really do anything for Christmas or the New Year. But, you know, the year is not off to a bad start, so I think that means it's off to a good start, right? Nothing super exciting to report. Looks like Judy has joined us. Welcome, Judy. It's good to see you here. So I do have a couple of things I want to show you guys before we start stamping tonight. And so I think we're going to jump into that. Then we will do our drawing. This is from the last video I did on November 30th. Went in today to, you know, see all the comments and who all had made comments so that we could do the drawing. So I've got that for you tonight. And then we'll make our cards. And I'm using some of the new stuff that's coming out. So I hope that you're excited to see that. And let's go ahead and get going, okay? It looks like Kathy's joined us and Marcia. So welcome. Susan's joined us. Awesome. So I'm so excited to be back, you guys. You know, this is my social activity, I guess you could say. And so I've kind of missed having you guys to talk to and to share my fun creations with, and ignore the mess behind me, please. I just realized how bad it looks. So anyway, let's go ahead and turn the camera around and we'll get started on showing you what I've got to show you, doing our drawing, and then we'll get stamping. All right, hang on just a second. Get this turned around. Get everything lined up the way it needs to be. Oh, I guess I don't need my monitor in the way there, or not my monitor, my keyboard, do I? So, oh, thank you, Susan. Yes, I'm actually healing really well. In fact, I came home from the hospital. My surgery was on a Thursday. I came home on Thursday afternoon, and they told me to take my pain meds right away when I got home. So take them before you need them, so that they're already in your system. First day of surgery, of course, they're expecting a lot of pain. And so I did that, took my pills, and then Friday came and I was doing the same thing, because they said for the first few days, go by a schedule. However frequently it tells you to take it that frequently, instead of waiting for the pain. And then after that, start gauging it by the amount of pain. So I did that. So Friday, I took my pills during the day, went to bed at like 8 o'clock at night, expecting, to take my pills every 4 hours. I slept through the night. They were some pretty heavy drugs. Slept through the night until like 9 a.m. the next morning. So I had missed like 3 doses of my pain pills, woke up and still had no pain. So I thought, wow, if I've gone this long without the pain pills and I don't feel any pain, maybe I don't need them. But I went ahead and took them again at 9 o'clock that morning, just to be on the safe side. And I never felt any pain after that. So I just said, you know what? I don't think I need these. And I never took my pain pills after that. I just didn't need them. So I've been really lucky in that regard. So everything's been healing up nicely. I'm still really trying to take it easy, so that I don't do damage. And kind of backtrack a little, but I'm feeling good. Oh, Marcia, thank you. You're so sweet. So anyway, hey, Talina and Eric. So let's go ahead and take a look at these catalogs I've got here. Tomorrow, our new mini catalog goes into effect. tonight at midnight Mountain Time, our winter catalog will retire. So if there is still stuff in that catalog that you want to make sure to get on there and get it ordered tonight before midnight Mountain Time. Because once it's gone, once it retires at midnight, it's done. And we can't get it again unless it comes back in a future catalog. And typically, it doesn't. So definitely take advantage of that now if that is something that you are wanting. I'm just noticing all my stuff is crooked, so bear with me here. Okay, so anyway, the new catalog is coming out this one is January through April, and oh, you guys, there's some really adorable stuff in here. You remember the gnomes that were in the winter catalog? Well, there's another set of them in this catalog. I don't know what page they're on, but there's some really beautiful designer series papers. There's some fun stamp sets. There's just a lot of good stuff in this catalog. I'm really kind of tickled with this one. And so if you need one of these catalogs, if you don't have one, you don't have a demonstrator that you already work with, I would be more than happy to send one out to you. Just send me either a private message here on Facebook or send me an email at at stamphappenings@gmail.com, and I can, I'd be happy to put one of those in the mail to you. So I'm noticing I'm still crooked, and that just bugs the holy living daylights out of me, so I'm really sorry. I could fiddle with it all night, and I know that wouldn't be good for any of us. Anyway, so this catalog is out, and really great stuff in it. Sharon Fine, if you are watching, I already have plans to send one to you, so you do not need to send me anything. I know you'll want one, and I am sending it. But anybody else, let me know if you need me to send one of these to you. Also, starting tomorrow is Celebration. Now, Stampin' Up! Is doing something a little different this year than what they've done the last couple of years. Last couple of years, they've been doing Celebration twice a year. They're cutting back and only doing it once a year again. So you're definitely going to want to take advantage of it this time around because it's not coming back. If you are unfamiliar with Celebration, here's how it works. This little brochure that I have here is full of goodies that are free for making a $50 purchase. For every $50 you spend, you can pick one of these. Now, there are a couple of items in here that you have to spend $100 to get. For example, this stamp set. Let me show it to you. I've got a few of these things that I can show you. But this stamp set right here, let's see. This is it. It's kind of fun. Really pretty, and I'm excited to get started playing with it a little bit. That one is with a $100 purchase. The other thing that is with a $100 purchase is this amazing paper pack. It's called Dandy Designs. Let me show it to you. It's 12 by 12 sheets, and you can see how thick this pack is. It's got 48 sheets in it. Let me pull this out just to kind of give you a gaze of what some of this paper looks like. And of course, it's printed on both sides. I'll flip it around and show you the other sides as well. I like the colors. I like the prints. I like that the prints aren't super duper busy. So you can probably do a lot with them. You can mix them and match them. The colors go together really well. See, so there's just some really pretty paper in here. And like I said, it's 48 12 by 12 sheets. And you can get this when you spend $100. Now, there is no limit to the number of free gifts you can earn. So let's say you spend $150. You could get 3 of the $50 gifts, or you could get one of the $100 gifts and one of the $50 gifts, whatever combination you choose. Again, there's no limit on that. And there's absolutely no judgment when it comes to how much you've spent. Let me show you a few more of the things in this catalog, just because I think it, everything shows better in real life than it does in a catalog, right? So I have this stamp set, the Adorable Owls. Aren't they so cute? I love these guys, and I'm excited to play with them. Then there's also, I don't have this stamp set. Let me set something down here. I don't have this one, but it's called Thanks a Bunch, and it's got like the little carrots and little sentiments, quite a few sentiments in it. So there's that. There's also, oh, this pack of paper, I forgot to get it out. Dainty Flowers. Let me pull this out to show it to you. It's so pretty. This pack of paper, the paper itself, it looks like watercolor paper, but it's not. It's just regular Designer Series paper. And I want to try to show you some of the prints here. It's just so pretty. And in fact, one of the cards we're going to make tonight, I actually had this paper in mind, but I didn't have it yet when I made the sample card. So we're not using this paper. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? I should have been showing you the other sides as we went. But I just think this paper is just to die for. I love it. There's that side. Isn't that just pretty? It's just dainty. I really, really like it. And you can get it for free when you spend $50. So that's another one of the items that you can get. Let's see what else we have here in the catalog. That's just another page of the same thing. There is this Day at the Farm Designer Series paper. I don't have it, but you can see it actually coordinates with a stamp set that we have in the annual catalog called On the Farm. I think it's the annual catalog. Maybe it's, no, it's not in the annual catalog. It's in the new January through April mini catalog. You can see some of the samples where they've done the cows and the chickens and all that. So some cute farm kind of paper. There's also this stamp set called Sending Support. Let me show you that one. This is what that stamp set looks like, and it's just got all sorts of really nice sentiments that you might send to support someone. Everything from good luck to, you know, it's okay to not feel okay, or here for you always. You know, just those sentiments that you would want to use to just kind of pump somebody up a little bit. Then this paper, oh, this paper is so gorgeous. I love it, and we're going to use it tonight. It's called Favored Flowers, and it does coordinate with, let me see if it's where it says Fragrant Flowers stamp set that I believe is in the new catalog. And look at this paper. Oh, it's just so gorgeous. I just love it. So there's these just big, you know, like cottagey, rosy looking flowers. I don't even know what they really are. And one side is floral, and then the other side is print. And there's just some really gorgeous prints in here. So you can see that side. And if you have the dies that go with that stamp set, they will work to cut out these flowers. Now, I don't have the dies, so the project that I have for you tonight, I just fussy cut them. But boy, it would have gone a lot faster if I had those dies. Let's see here. And then, let's see, there's this one in the country, which I don't have, and it's just kind of this countryside sort of look, little vintagey sort of, I guess. I showed you this one, the Beautifully Happy, and I showed you the Dandy Designs Designer Series paper. And then as a host reward, now when I'm going to use that term host loosely, because if you choose to collect some orders from your friends and you collect $300 worth of orders, that qualifies as a party. And at $300, in addition to all the other great benefits that you would get as a host, you would also get this stamp set for free. It's called Scenic Garden. Let's see if you can see. Yeah, you can see that, okay? So you can get that one for free. And then finally, during celebration, there's always some sort of a special. If you choose to join Stampin' Up, there's a special going on, of course. And look at this little mini stamping or cutting and embossing machine. Now, you've seen mine. I have a mini one. I have a large one. This is a special one in a new color called Boho Blue. Now, people are speculating that this might be one of the new in colors coming out with the new annual catalog in May. I don't know that. Nobody has told me that. Hey, Crystal, welcome. So don't quote me on saying that's going to be one of the new colors, but that's one of the things people are speculating. So I'm curious to see, because I sure love that color. I think it's really, really pretty. Anyway, so the special, if you want to join Stampin' Up, you can either get $175 worth of products for only $99, and that's products of your choice. You get to pick what's in that $175, or you can spend $129, so for just $30 more, and you get the $175 worth of products of your choice, plus one of the mini cutting and embossing machines. And that's a $63 value, just the machine itself. And you can choose to get it in the boho blue or the traditional white. Hey, Nell, welcome. Thanks. It's good to be back. So anyway, if you are interested in finding out a little bit more about joining Stampin' Up, this is a great time to do it. People do it all the time just to get the kit for free, or just to get the kit and all the stuff with it, and they never do anything. Or they get it just to be able to get the discount on future products, or they get it because they want to build a business. So there's a lot of different reasons people join. If you just want to ask some questions, I would love to answer those questions for you, help you decide if that's something that you might want to do. And to be honest, there's no reason not to. At the very least, you get, a couple $100 worth of products for almost 50% off, and have a good time stamping in the meantime. So, okay, I'm going to fiddle with my phone again a little bit because I'm crooked, and I told you it's really bugging me. Okay, so let me move some of this stuff out of the way. And by the way, to take advantage of Celebration, it's a little confusing sometimes to people because we bring out that new catalog at the same time that we start Celebration. And so sometimes people think that you have to purchase from that catalog in order to qualify for the free gifts. That is not the case. You can purchase from the new mini catalog that I just showed you, or from our annual catalog. Either one is just fine. So for every $50 that you spend, you get free products. So definitely something fun to take advantage of. Okay, so anyway, we have our weekly drawing, which in this case was a monthly drawing because I was gone for so long. If you're new here, here's how the drawing works. All you have to do is comment. And if all you want to do is just say hello and leave it at that, that is absolutely fine. But if you choose to participate in the conversation, that does just make it a little more fun around here, whether you are asking me questions, giving feedback, giving suggestions, talking to one another, any of that. Any of it qualifies as leaving a comment, and your name will go into a drawing that I will draw for right before I go live next week, and I'll announce the winner at next week's live. If you are watching a replay of this on YouTube or even a replay here on Facebook, you still can qualify. Just be sure to leave me a comment, say hello, tell me where you're from. I just like to see where everybody's from. And as long as you've left a comment between now and about 3 o'clock next Wednesday, then your name will go in the drawing. Hi, Susie, welcome. Okay, so this week's winner is getting the Fine Sparkle Adhesive Back Gems. I love these because they're flat, so they don't create as, you can kind of see, I guess, if you look at, well, maybe you can. I don't know if you can really see looking at the package just how flat they are, but they don't add a lot of bulk to your card, and I really like that. There's some just really pretty colors, and this week's winner is Robin McGarvey. So congratulations, Robin. I have your address, so I will get these out in the mail to you right away. All right, so now let's go ahead and move on to our cards that we're making. The first card we're going to make today, I am using the Peaceful Moments sentiment set. And I really like this set. I love the font, and I just like there's a lot of different types of sentiments in it. So this is a great set. And then we're also using the Framed Florets dies. This is a new bundle that is in the new catalog where you can get the stamps and the dies. Tonight, we're just going to use the dies, but let me show you. My favorite part of this is it makes all these ovals. We're going to use one of them tonight. We're going to use this one. But then there's also, let me pull out the other one. And you know, there's some flowers and such in the stamp set that this has dies that it cuts out, but it also cuts out some greenery that you don't necessarily even need the stamp for. And then we've got a couple more ovals here, see, of different sizes that you can use. So I'm really excited to play with this die set a little bit more. So we're using this tonight. Put these back away. And then we are also using the Favored Flowers Designer Series paper that I just showed you guys. It's this one with all the beautiful flowers on it. Okay, so you can see where I fussy cut a bunch of them out, and I have this just in case I need more if I don't like the ones that I cut out. But this is tonight's card, and of course the matching envelope, the inside. So let's go ahead and get started on our card. We'll start by doing the envelope. Whoop, got pieces kind of going everywhere. So I'm going to take my liquid glue, my Tombow liquid glue, and I'm just going around the edge here. It's kind of interesting doing this standing up. I hadn't thought about this because, you know, when I'm just stamping on my own, I sit at my desk and trying to stretch my arm out there as much as I need to when I'm standing with this sling on is a little tricky. Okay, so now with this paper, it does have a right side up, and it's kind of hard to tell at first glance, so you've really got to look at it and make sure. And I can see in this case, my flowers are pointing up that direction, so now I know it's going the right way. Just line it up on here. Welcome, Teresa. I see that you snuck in at one point. Oh, and Glenna snuck in on us too. Welcome. Okay, so now that I've glued that down, I'm just going to trim off the excess. The strip that I glued on, I just took a strip that's 2.5 inches by 6 inches. And you can see it does give me quite a bit extra. I could probably make up, you know, cut a strip a little bit smaller than that to save some paper. But to be honest, I like having a little bit of extra wiggle room here, so it's not, I don't have to be so painstaking about making sure everything's lined up quite right and all of that. So there's our envelope. Okay, now let's get started with our card. The base of our card, this is a standard base. It's 8.5 by 5.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. Let's move some of this stuff out of the way. And this is our Calypso Coral. You know, it's kind of funny. I'm not really an orange person. But when I first started with Stampin' Up! This time around, because some of you know that I was a demonstrator like a whole nother lifetime ago, when we didn't have this color way back then. But when I started with this time around, boy, I love this color. And for a long time, I made so much stuff with this Calypso Coral because I just think it's so pretty. Okay, let's go ahead and do the inside of our card. So I've got a piece of basic white there. And then I have these little strips of our flower paper and then just a little strip of black. And we're just going to put this, make this little strip along the bottom of our card. What I chose to do with this one is I'm centering it from left to right, so horizontally, but I am not centering it vertically. I have it lined up right along the bottom of the strip of basic black. And then I'm going to just line that up there. And I do like to use the liquid glue for this kind of thing because as you see, I don't know if you noticed it wasn't quite lined up when I first put it on there, but because the glue was still wet, I was able to just slide it into place where I wanted it. And it's a little harder to do that with the other adhesives that are drier. Now let's go ahead and glue this to the inside of the card. Why do we do that? Because Heather will lose pieces if she doesn't put them all together right away. Okay. And you could stamp a little sentiment in there or write a message, whatever you choose to do. Okay, so now I'm going to take, I have a piece of basic black, and then I have my floral paper. It looks like it goes this direction. So let's put these pieces all together. Okay. Now we'll go ahead and stick that down onto the card. As you can see, this card actually comes together pretty quickly. The most time-consuming part of it was fussy cutting the flowers, which you'll see in just a minute. But again, if you have those dies, they come right, you know, that takes care of that problem, right? Okay, so now what I did is I used this frame right here. And what it did is it cuts out this frame, but it also cuts this oval in the middle. It cuts it out so that you've got an open piece there. So what I did is I die cut it in both the Calypso Coral and white so that I could put them together like this, okay? And earlier today, I was thinking about it. I thought, ooh, I wonder how that would have looked if I'd used vellum instead of the white. Now, it's a little late for me to do that, but just a thought to keep in the back of your mind. If you choose to recreate this card, maybe using vellum instead of white. You know, just an idea. Okay, so let's go ahead and start putting this together. And I'm just going to take a little bit, bear with me here. I apologize if I get my head in the camera. I kind of have to lean down because my arm doesn't stretch that far. Okay, let's see. And I'm just trying to put a little bit of glue in all these little lines where I can. Now, something I could have done and probably should have done, it would have made it easier, is I could have used our adhesive sheets, run this through the die cut machine, and that turns this into a sticker so it sticks down really easily. That probably would have been a really good way to go, but I did not do that. So let's go ahead and just get a little bit of glue on here. Another thing I could have done, should have done, coulda, woulda, shoulda, is you take a sponge dauber and you get the glue on the sponge dauber and then just daub on there. You don't end up with a huge excess of glue and you get it right where you want it. That's a great way to do it as well. Okay, so now I'm just going to try to line this up so that it's in the center of my card. And again, the liquid glue works really well for this because as you lay it down, you can kind of slide it around a little bit to make sure that it's centered and lined up the way you want it. Now I'm going to take this white, basic white piece, and I'm just going to stick it right back here in the middle of my frame. Again, sliding it around. I have glue on my fingers, so stuff was sticking to me. Okay, now, usually I wait till the very end to put on my embellishments, but I'm going to go ahead and do these right now. I just got glue on my card that I did not want on my card because it was on my paper here. Let's get rid of that so that I don't have problems with everything sticking. Okay, so what I did is I took some of these are Pearl Basic Jewels, and they have 3 different sizes. They come in 3 sizes. There's small, and then some medium, and then some large. We're going to use the small ones. And I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool. And I'm putting 3 of them on each one of these little, I don't know what you call those little pieces, those little, I mean, it's not a corner. I don't know what that is. Sticky outy thing. See how I'm just putting them right there to accent that piece. Okay. It does take a minute to do this since you're putting so many on there. But it's easy. I'm so excited. There's so many of you here tonight. I was a little nervous, you know, being gone as long as I was. Sometimes when you step back for a little bit, you know, people find other things to do, other places to go, whatever. So I wasn't entirely sure how many, you know, if I would lose a lot of people by taking as much time off as I did. So I'm so glad you guys are back. Okay. We're going to use these again in just a little bit, so I'll leave them out. So you can see we've got them just to accent those little corners, whatever those are. Now let's make sure my card is right side up. I could just see me doing the rest of it with the card upside down, right? Okay, so I cut out a whole bunch of these little flowers. And one thing I want to point out to you is some of them, like this one, for example, was on the edge of the paper. Go ahead and use those anyway, because you'll see that we're going to line these up so that you can hide that part. So, so you can still use them. So we're going to start. I've got this little guy right here. Let's see. We'll put that. You know what? I think we'll put down this one first because this will kind of set the stage for how everything else is going to look. So for this one, I want it popped up. So I'm going to use my dimensionals for this. And at first, I'm trying to make sure which way my flower goes. I think it goes like that. Welcome, Maxine. Oh, Susan, thank you. Okay, so now I'm going to stick this rose on there. Now, this one is kind of going to be my front piece, and that's why I want it lifted up, because the other pieces are going to be layered beneath it. So let's see, we've got this one here. Okay. So let's go ahead. Now what I'm doing with these when they're layered is I want to put a little bit of glue at the bottom part of the piece and stick it in there. Push it down. But I do want the edges to stick up a little bit. Let's see. There we go, like that. So then I'll go back in and put a dimensional under there. And I do have mini dimensionals as well, and I might find that I need to use those on some of these tonight. So we'll just kind of see how it goes. Okay, now let's see. How's this one look? It's so hard because I don't quite know what direction these flowers are supposed to go. Let's see. I'm going to lift that up just a little bit because I'm going to want to stick that in just a little bit further. Whoop. And we'll put a dimensional under the edge that's sticking up. Oops. Helps if you take the back off of it, right? And I think I want to put one on that side, other side too. Okay, well, let's see what else looks good here. Maybe, oh, I like that right there. So we'll put a little glue, stick it right there, and another dimensional. And part of the reason, you know, I started out thinking I was only going to want maybe 2 or 3 flowers, but there was so much white space with this that I found I liked it better with more flowers, just to kind of fill up that space a little bit. There we go. Okay, so and my last dimensional. And then I just kind of pick at my edges a little bit so that they stick up a little bit more. Just like that. See, and it just gives it a little bit more of a 3D look. And I didn't use all of the flowers that I cut out, and that's okay. I intentionally cut out some extra because I didn't quite know what I was going to want to do. I have my sentiment that says thank you, and I'm using the Gorgeous Grape ink. Now, normally I tell you to stamp before you glue everything down, which is very sound advice, because if I had boogered that up, I'd have to make the card all over again because I already had all those pieces on there. But in this case, I wanted to be able to kind of decide where to put my sentiment based on where all those flowers filled up the space so that I could kind of center it, because I wanted it to be properly aligned in whatever white space was left after I had put all those flowers on there. So that's why I did what I did in that case, but you do want to be careful. Now we're going to put just a few more of these pearls on here. And in this case, I'm going to take one of those medium pearls and then one of the small ones. And then I'm going to take another small one, put it right about maybe there. There we go. And now this card is done with our matching envelope. What do you guys think of this one? I really like this one. You know, it's funny. I think I'm just a lot more, maybe more matronly than I want to admit, because they do kind of remind me of grandma flowers, but I love it. I love this paper. Okay, so let's put this away and we can get started on card number 2. Move some stuff out of the way here. Okay. Bear with me as I just try to clean up my mess a little bit as I go. Okay. Now our next card, I used quite a few different products here, and you could probably do this pretty easily with fewer products than I used. So, you know, keep that in mind. Take the amount of stuff I use with a grain of salt on this one. But the focus on this card is the Playing in the Rain bundle. And it's just so cute. And I love that little turtle guy. And then all these dies, you've got a bridge, you've got all the characters, you've even got a stump. You've got clouds, which I could see using the clouds on a lot of other different cards that I've got, outdoorsy kind of things, whatever. The kite with the little ties on there. Or you could make it be like a bow tie on the little animals. So lots of cute stuff that you can do with this set. Then I also use, these are our Something Fancy dies, and it's just all different little labels. And these little pieces you could put in the end, you know, like where there's normally a hole at the end of a tag. You could put these there for decoration, a little bit of extra decoration. Now, this is where it comes in that I ended up using another die set. I used the seasonal labels because I just wanted to feed some ribbon through. I didn't really want anything fancy like this. And so the seasonal labels dies to go with the tags here has some smaller ones that are just straight like this. And so that's what I chose to use this set for. So you don't really have to have both of these sets of dies. You know, you could even just use like a regular little hole punch if you wanted. I just happened to have this, so that's what I used. Here's the card we're gonna make. Isn't that cute? And this uses the, what's it called? Dandy Designs Designer Series paper that you can get for free with a $100 purchase. So, and there's the inside. So let's go ahead and get started on our card. We'll start with the envelope. Get that glue on there. So, funny story, you know, before I went in for my surgery, I knew I was going to be spending quite a bit of time in my pajamas for a while after that. And I knew I was going to want pajamas that buttoned up the front because I thought that would be easier to get in and out of with my shoulder out of commission, right? So I went out and bought a couple pairs of pajamas. And as I was searching for them, I really focused on that button up the front, button up the front, button up the front. Well, I like to buy my pajamas like a couple sizes too big because I like them to be super big and roomy, right? And so I bought these pajamas that are 2 sizes too big, which is totally fine, buttoned up the front. Then the day of surgery, got home to put on my pajamas. No, I wore my pajamas to the surgery clinic. But when I put them on, I realized they have a drawstring waist, which is what I wanted because I buy them so big, I need to be able to cinch them up at the waist so that the pants don't fall off, right? Well, I was so focused on the fact that because of my shoulder, I would need a button-up shirt. I didn't even think about the fact that because of my shoulder, I might not be able to tie my own pants. So fortunately, it wasn't long before I was able to tie my own pants. But in the beginning, my 23-year-old son had to tie my pants for me, and that was just like way more than he could handle. It was actually pretty funny. So yeah, he was very gracious about doing it, but he felt very, very uncomfortable. Okay, and everybody told me that I should just tell him that it is preparation for the days that are coming when he's going to have to change my diapers. That would probably kill the kid. Okay, so we've got our basic card base, 8.5 by 5.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So let's go ahead and fold that. And this is our Balmy Blue. Let's do the inside of the card. And all we have here is a piece of basic white and a strip of the Designer Series paper. So I'm going to go ahead and put some glue on here. I always like to put something on the inside of the card just to decorate it up a little bit. Another demonstrator that I have followed in the past always said the party shouldn't stop when you open the card. And I really like that philosophy. I just like the wording of it. And I've always thought of that. The party shouldn't stop when you open the card. So I do like having a little something inside the card, whether I stamp something or just a little piece of coordinating Designer Series paper, something of that nature. And on this one, we're actually going to stamp the sentiment on the inside. And I'm using my Balmy Blue ink. I'll just line it up here. It's a little bit crooked, but that's okay. Okay. Now let's go ahead. Oh, let's close that up before I do some serious damage with it. Oh my gosh, you guys. I'm having a heat flash right now, and it drives me crazy. I'm used to being cold all the time. So when I suddenly am like 9,000 degrees, it's very weird for me. Okay, so line that up on the inside here while I roast to death. Okay, so now our next step is we've got our two little triangle pieces that go together like this, okay? And what I like to do is, you know, I could line them up on here one at a time and then put them in, but it makes it hard to make sure you've got everything lined up, your margins are the same. I mean, you can do it, but I'll show you a quicker and easier way to do it. So you flip your paper over to the back, line your pieces up just like that. Then I take just a little bit of my tear and tape. Just like that. And now I'm going to go ahead and oops, there we go. Okay, I thought I saw some adhesive up along an edge. Okay, so now I'm just going to line it up on this piece of basic white. So I've got just a little bit of a white margin around it. It makes it pop off the card front just a little bit better. And I like that look. So I'm going to go ahead now and glue this piece down. Okay, now, next step, I've got a little bit of our Pool Party grosgrain ribbon. I love this, and oh my gosh, it is so soft. I mean, grosgrain ribbon isn't typically a real starchy, stiff ribbon anyway, but this is really silky feeling. I love it. Okay, this is where I was talking about how I cut this die out, and then I put those little slits there so that we can run the ribbon through it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in from the back, and I'm just going to, I folded my ribbon in half, and I'm peeking it up like that. Then I'm going to take these ends and feed them through the bottom one. So both ends are coming from the back to the front, just like so. There we go. Now, because I want to make sure my ribbon stays where I put it, I'm going to take another piece of my tear and tape, and I'm just going to tape that ribbon in place. Just like that. And I do want to trim the ribbon. I don't want it to be super duper long. There we go. And now we can just go ahead and glue this right down on the card, because we're not going to stamp directly on it. Okay, now the next step, I've got just a scrap of basic white, and I've got my little flower stamp here, and I have the little turtle stamp. Hang on here, I'm trying to push up my sleeves. Okay, now I am using my Tuxedo Black Memento ink. I'm going to stamp them on here. I have to do this at kind of an angle because this piece I cut out wasn't quite wide enough. Well, I didn't cut it out, it was just a scrap. Okay, And now I'm going to stamp the flowers as well. Oh. I don't like how it's got the little pieces there. So let's go ahead. Whoops. And just flip it over. There we go, that's better. Clean off my stamp. And I'm going to need to die cut these after I color them. So I'm going to cut those pieces apart just so that they're both go in the right direction when I need them to be face up for the die cutting. But first, let's color them. Okay, and I've got a lot of colors for this one. Lots of colors. Okay, so I'm going to start with my flowers, and I wanted the centers of my flowers to be yellow, so I am using the Daffodil Delight. Okay, and then I'm going to take, I have light Flirty Flamingo, and I chose to use the light colors because I thought they worked a little bit better with the lighter hues on the Designer Series paper, but also in regard to the flower, I didn't want to use bright colors for the flower because I didn't want the flower to necessarily be what stood out. I wanted the turtle to be what stood out. So I didn't want to use those super bright colors that would draw your eye immediately to the flower. Okay. Then I took my, hold on, let me think what colors I used here. Is this the mint macaron? Yes, this is the mint macaron, and I used it to do all my little leaves. Oops, I forgot to color in that flower. Come back to that in just a moment. When I forgot to color that one too. What was I thinking? You guys, why didn't you stop me? Okay. There. Okay, now to do my turtle. I have a couple different shades of green here. I've got my mint macaron, light and dark, and I have Pool Party, light and dark. So what I did here, let's start with his little shell, and I'm using the dark. And first I'm just going to color him in. Now I do want a little bit of shading, and normally what I would do is, you know, use the dark for the shading and then fill in the rest of the way with the light, but I want his body to be the light. So what I did is I colored him in, let that soak in a little bit, and then I'll come back and use the dark again, layering on that color, which will give me the shading that I want on his shell. Then I'm going to take the dark and do a little bit of shading on his body. Okay, whoops, let's do a little shading here on his arms too. His little cute little arms. And then I'm going to take the light and start blending in that dark that's on the body. And you can always, if you need more of the dark to give it a little more shading, you can always come back, give it a moment or two to soak into your paper, and then come and layer on the color. That's one of the nice things about these alcohol markers. You can do that. You can layer the color. Just got to give it a moment or two to soak in. Okay, so I'm going to let that soak in a little bit. While it's soaking in, I'm going to take my dark mint macaron again, and I'm going to start going over these areas that I wanted there to be just a little bit more shading. And let's see, I think he might need a little bit more shading on his little body too. Not a lot, just a little. There. Now we'll just let that soak in while we work on the shell, and then if we need to come back for some more, we will. So first I took the dark balmy blue, and I did the main part of the shell here. And there's not really a lot of room to shade this part of the shell, so I did my shading on the little spots. I don't know what you call those. They're not really spots. What are they? Okay, so now I'm going to take my pool party, and I'll show you what I did. I started, in this case, I'm starting with the lightest color, right? So I'm going to make a few of them. Pool party. And then I'm going to take my dark pool party. Actually, let's take the light balmy blue. Now I'm going to take my dark, make sure this is the dark pool party, it is. And I'm going to do a little bit of shading on these ones that I colored pool party. Give a little bit of this on these balmy blue ones. Then I'm going to take my light again, yeah, and just kind of try to blend that a little bit. And then I want to blend that a little bit better. And then I'm going to take my dark balmy blue, and I'm just doing a little bit of the edges here on these lighter ones. A little bit on the lighter ones, not a lot. Actually, I'm going to do a little bit more on these blue ones because I do want them to stand out a little bit more. And there we go. Look at our little guy. Isn't he adorable? Okay, and then we got our flowers. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my dies. We've got our little turtle guy here. And because I don't trust my dies to not wander around, oh, got ink all over my thumb. I'm glad I didn't get that on an image somewhere. Okay, because I don't want my die to wander all around, I'm going to line it up here. Okay, that looks pretty good there. So I'm going to tape it down. I'm going to do the same with the flowers. Now, a little secret I'll tell you about lining up the flowers. Once you figure out kind of what direction it goes, see these little dots down here? The black of the stems, the very bottoms of the stems, should show through those little dots, and that's how you know you have it lined up properly. Okay, so let me get my cutting machine here. We'll use the mini one tonight. Oops, see, my turtle's already moving. I'm going to need to put a little bit more tape on that. There we go. There we go, easy to fix. Okay, and this is my mini cutting and embossing machine. Remember when I was telling you about the special this month, or during Celebration, if you sign up with Stampin' Up, you can get one of the mini machines with your kit for an additional $30. This is the one. It is a little bit different than our big one, just in that it's a little narrower here. So not all of our dies fit through it, but most of them do. So for $30, it's a great starter one if you don't have a machine yet. And especially if you can get it for $30, that's a great deal. Okay, so let's go ahead and put these guys on the plates and feed it through. Sorry about the wiggling. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Okay. Uh-oh. I think my flowers moved. Oh, they did. Darn it. We're going to have to do the flowers again because, see, they moved. Okay. We can do that quickly. Hang on. But my turtle probably stayed put because I put 2 pieces of the tape on him. Yep, he stayed in place. So let's see. Let me just grab a white scrap really quick. Okay, so do this quickly. Stamp with black. Okay. And these little parts of the flowers are so small, I obviously didn't do any shading with them either. And look, I didn't even forget to do any of them that time. Okay, now color in my little leaves. And let's try this again. Let's put this one away before I lose it. And we're going to line this up. Make it so that I can see the bottoms of the stems through those little holes on the bottom. Oh, and it moved as I moved my hand. That's okay. All right, this looks pretty good like that. It'll probably, oh, that's a lot bigger piece than what I meant to do, but that's okay. Let's try this again. think I can make any more noise doing that. Okay, let's take off our little tape here. Oh, that's much better, don't you agree? Okay, put that die away. All right, now we just got to piece it together. We're just about done here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put dimensionals behind him. So we're going to start with the turtle. And let's put one under his flowers so that we can kind of support that. Whoops. Oops, that's a little bit showing through on the front side a little bit. So let's try that again. Now it's showing through on the back. Got to move it back a little bit. Okay. And I just put him on there. Right about the center of the tag. Actually, let's move him up a little bit because we're going to have those flowers too. Okay, then I'm taking the flowers, and what I did here, let me check this to make sure. Yep, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I have some dimensionals here that I am actually going to put it down on paper here because I want them in a very specific spot, and I'm going to put them 2 dimensionals high because I want it to be popped up just slightly higher than he is. That way it gives the look like he's kind of in the flowers, just a little bit more of a 3-dimensional look. And now I'll just take my little flowers right there. Ta-da! And there he is. What do you guys think? Isn't he cute? So cute. And with our envelope, and there we go. And now we are ready for card number 3. Clean up my dimensional backs here. They end up everywhere. I always say that they're like tinsel on the Christmas tree, you know. Come Easter, you're still finding them. Okay, now this final card uses the framed florets stamps. They go with the dies. Where are they? Remember the framed florets die? Ooh, I tried to tip you guys over. Okay, these go together. So like the flowers, these cut out the flowers that I was talking about. So these are a bundle sold together, framed florets, dies and stamps. And we used one on one card and one on the other. Okay, so here's the card we're gonna make. Decorated the envelope. I showed you guys this technique once before. It's called the faux silk technique. And I love this paper. I think this is so beautiful. Let me show it to you. This paper is called Awash in Beauty. And it's more just really pretty florals. Let me show you. And then that pattern on the back. You've got those with that pattern. These. I like that one too. There's the back. There's this. It's such a rich, beautiful color. And go that. Oh, that's the back side. So that's the Awash in Beauty Designer Series paper. This is in the annual catalog. And it does have, it actually has a bundle, stamps and dies, that it coordinates with. Okay, so let's get started on our card. Start with the envelope. And we're just going to go ahead and glue that down. And I don't know if you remember when I did this technique before, but it's really pretty quick and easy. if you don't have glue boogers stuck in your glue thing, glue bottle. Spread some of that out. I got kind of a glob there. Again, make sure that your flowers are going the right direction. Line everything up. We're going to trim off the excess. If you cut a little bit of your envelope, it doesn't matter. That's okay. So I have a funny Lucy story for you guys. If you're new, Lucy is my 7-month-old golden retriever puppy. And she is very, very much a puppy in that every undesirable puppy characteristic you could possibly want, she has in spades. But she is very sweet and lovable, and it's really hard to be mad at her. Well, she thinks my son hung the moon. And when it's time for her to go to bed at night, she sleeps with me. And if I'm the one taking her to bed, she just follows me in there, no big deal. But if he's the one taking her to bed, she lays down, refuses to move, and gives him this sad, pitiful look. And I swear to you, if that dog could bat her eyelashes, she'd be batting her eyelashes at him. He's such a sucker. And so he bends over, he picks her up, and he carries her to bed. And they do this every night. It cracks me up. Okay, so here's how you do the faux silk technique. This is beautiful with bright colors like this, but you can also stamp an image on here. In this case, I'm just using the beautiful pattern that's already created for me with the designer series paper. Then you take a piece of white tissue and just crumple it up. And then you uncrumple it. Don't do it too quickly because you'll tear it if you uncrumple it too quickly. And you don't want to flatten it out too much when you uncrumple it because you want all those little bumps and grooves and all of that in there. That's what gives it that silk, that texture of the raw silk. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of our an adhesive sheet, and I've cut it to 4x6. By the way, I cut my piece of tissue paper just slightly bigger than that because it's just easier than trying to line it up perfectly. So now, pull the paper off the right side, and I'm just going to lay this down. Again, don't pull all the crinkles out of your tissue because you want them there. So I'm just lining this up. Now what I should have done actually, I don't know what I was thinking, is I should have actually put that on this paper because it would have lined up better, but we can still do that, I think. Let's see how this works. I'm going to take my bone folder and just kind of go like this. It just makes sure that all the glue is adhered down onto that tissue paper where I want it. And yes, I most definitely should have put it on my designer series paper first, but I'll be careful and we'll see. If I had done it on my designer series paper first, then I would just have to lay the tissue down over it. That would have been a lot easier, but I don't do things the easy way. Okay, let's see how this works. And again, you've got all your little crinkles in there. That's perfectly okay. And so you are going to want to trim this down a little bit for a couple of reasons. One, you want to trim off the extra tissue paper, but also this piece is 4 by 6. We only need it to be 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. Looks like it's coming up on the edge there. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to take a tiny, tiny little bit of my liquid glue. Maybe. There we go. Be careful because it will soak through your paper, whereas the adhesive paper doesn't do that. Okay. So now we're going to trim this down. Like I said, let's go ahead and get that bottom piece. So I just go ahead and line this up. And I cut just a little bit off the edge because then I knew I was getting a nice sharp edge on my paper, but it did tear my paper there a little bit. That's going to bother me. Okay, so now let's line this up because we want it to be 5 1/8. Oh, you know what? I want it to look like that. I want to use that end. And you'll see why here in just a moment. So let's go ahead and trim off this edge. And then we'll go back and cut that other end. And the reason I want that is because this other end is what's going to be the inside of my card. The decoration on the inside. Okay, so there we go. This is the front. This is going to be the inside. And I can trim it down a little bit to get rid of that piece where the paper tore. So that actually works out okay. There we go. No one ever needs to know. And now, for this piece, I'm just tearing off the edge because it's just such a small little piece, or I could use my scissors. For the bigger one, though, I am going to use my trimmer to trim off the extra. Okay. Okay, so now we're just gonna, this is 4 and I just need it to be slightly smaller than that because I need 3 7/8 is what I actually need. So cut off that side. It's totally sticking to me. It would not stick to, just so you know, all these problems I'm having with it sticking to everything would not be happening if I had put the adhesive paper, the adhesive sheet on my designer series paper, not on the tissue, just so you know. Okay, so now you can see, seeing it up close, you see all those little crinkles and the way that tissue paper gives it that raw silk look. And like I said, when you've got vibrant colors like this, it just looks gorgeous showing through. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is we're going to start with our card here. The card base, again, it's your standard card base, 8.5 by 5.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. Oh, except for I didn't score it. And I'm going to take my bone folder. There we go. Let's do the inside of the card. So I've got this piece of basic white, and I'm just going to glue this right on that bottom edge, just like so. wiggle it around, get it right where I want it, and now we can put it on the inside of the card. Whoop. And this card comes together pretty quickly. Go ahead and line it up on the inside of your card. There we go. Then what I did is I took a piece of a scrap here. I've got this stamp here that says, thank you with all of my heart. Hi, kitty girl. Lucy has been sleeping this whole time and she just woke up. So now she'll probably start causing trouble. Okay, and the reason, you know, sometimes I stamp first and then I punch or die cut, and sometimes I die cut and then stamp on it. The reason I'm stamping first is because, as you'll see, this stamp fits inside of the punch that I'm going to use, but just barely. So I would rather stamp it and then get it lined up with the punch the way I want it. Then I don't have to worry about, am I stamping it straight? Am I stamping it right in line? You know, is that working? So I'm using this punch. I'm going to line it up here. Okay, and then I do have one that I already punched out of the, I forgot to tell you, this is our Mary Merlot. And I already punched one out of the Mary Merlot. And what I'm going to do is cut it in half lengthwise. I've done this before. It allows you to kind of frame your die cut or your tag a little bit. Gives it a little bit of a shadow, so it's like you have a mat around it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of glue along this edge and a little bit of glue along this edge, and then just line it up where I want it. Whoop. And I'm going to do it again along this straight edge and along this curved edge. Hang on just a second, Lucy. And see how it gives me that nice little matte edge there. Hang on just a second. Oh, come on, baby. Okay, now I'm going to take my Balmy Blue ink. And I actually should have done this stamping before I did my mat there, but I kind of forgot. And I just have this cute little flower. I just didn't like how much white was there. It just looked a little stark to me. So I'm stamping it kind of in the background. There you go, like that. Maybe it needs a little bit right there, coming off that edge. There we go, just like that. Okay, now let's put everything together. So I have this piece of Balmy Blue. We have our piece of faux silk that we've done. Let's put them together and put them on the card. Okay. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I've got my little tag here, and all I'm doing is I'm folding this kind of like a bow. So see, just like that. Oops. And then I'm going to take, again, a piece of my tear and tape, which I kind of should have done ahead of time, but that's okay. Let's take a look at this just to make sure if it's too big. Yeah, that's too big. So let's make it just a little bit smaller. It's going to be lined up like that. And now we can trim this. And then I'm going to take, some of my foam adhesive sheets here. Got a piece there. See if I have another little piece like that that I can put on here. Yeah, I think that'll work. This is why I keep the scraps when I cut a bigger piece, because then I can do something like this. And now we're just going to go ahead and stick this onto the card. Oh, poo. I kind of didn't want my ribbon going that direction. And it's a lot bigger than, I wonder if it'll let me lift that. It will. It looks like it will let me lift it. So I can, okay, good. I can make this a little simple. Lucy, what are you doing, honey? Bear with me here. Okay. So let's try this again. First of all, I want the little, what do you call it? The loops of the bow to be on this end. Okay, that is better. And this ribbon that I'm using, can't remember what it's called, but and I don't know how well you can see this in the video, but it's so pretty. It's kind of a gradient where it starts with blue and then goes to white, and it's just gorgeous. I love it. Okay, I think this will be okay. We need to trim down the tails a little bit more, but that's okay. Oh, there it is. Okay, I do like that better. Okay, now let's try putting the foam back on here. There we go, that's better. Now we'll just finish it off with a few of our solid faceted gems. And we've got the Balmy Blue. I always want to say Bliss Blue because that was a blue that we had when I was a demonstrator like 20 years ago. And it's very similar in color. Okay, so let's see here. Actually, I think I used the smaller ones. All right, so as we're finishing up this last card, remember tonight is the last night that you can purchase from our winter catalog. There we go. What do you think, you guys? Isn't that pretty? I love the faux silk technique. So got all that goes together. Clean up my mess. We'll take a peek at everything we made tonight. Anyway, tonight is last night. You can order from the winter mini catalog, but starting tomorrow, you can order from the new January through April catalog. And you can earn Celebration gifts for free for every $50 that you spend. And if you don't have a demonstrator that you currently work with, I would love to earn your business. You can place an order on my website at heathersides.stampinup.net. And if you place an order under $150, it would help me a lot if you would use that host code that's right there. That's what helps me to provide these videos for free and prizes and things like that. If, however, your order is over $150, which does tend to happen during Celebration, don't use the host code because you'll have some free rewards coming to you from Stampin' Up! In addition to the Celebration gifts. And I want to make sure that you are the one who receives them. So don't use the code if your order is over $150. Okay, let's see. As always, if you have ideas, suggestions, questions, anything, you're free to contact me at stamphappenings@gmail.com, or you can send me a private message here on Facebook. I love to hear from you guys. So if you have something that you would like to see that I haven't done, or maybe I have, but you'd like to see it done again in a different way, just let me know. I would love to be able to accommodate that. So let's take a peek at what we made tonight. We've got this one here with the faux silk. We have this one where we used our Stampin' Blend markers and our cute little turtle guy. And then here, where we created the kind of 3D effect of those flowers. And that's what we did tonight. I hope you guys liked those. Oh, thank you guys for your comments. If you liked what you saw tonight, I'd love it if you'd give me some thumbs up, some hearts, any of those kind of things. And especially if you would share this video. You never know who on your feed might be interested in this kind of thing, and it would help me a lot. That's how it gets my name out there and helps me to grow my business. So I hope you guys had fun tonight. I am excited to be back in the game again, and I will be back here next Wednesday with 3 new fun ideas for you. Have a great week, everybody.